Well, on Inside Out this morning, I've told you that elections are just around the corner. The 2024 elections is just about 6 months away. Today is the 22nd of May. We're entering June. July, August, September, October, November, December. And then on the 7th of December, we are going to the polls to go and vote. And already you can see that the political activity in this country is ramping up. So much is going on. We've got the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and flag bearer of the NPP, crisscrossing the country, moving from place to place, meeting people and campaigning, trying to sell himself to the people, to get the people to vote for him, because he believes that his government and his vision is superior to his opponents. You've also seen the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, moving around the country, meeting the clergy, meeting other interest groups and talking to them and telling them all the things that he wants to do should he become president, right? And in all of this, there is also an ongoing limited voter registration exercise, which is supposed to go on for some 21 days. And it has been fraught with all kinds of challenges. And as a result of the limited voter registration exercise, there are even people who have been severely injured because there were some troubles, or should I say skirmishes, because political parties were challenging people's eligibility to vote, among other things. I mean, people's eligibility to get registered, among other things. And this caused trouble to the effect that three police officers have had to be interdicted. I think that happened somewhere in the Dujama, in the Ashanti region. In Kukwom, in the Ahaf region, for example, Collins Dauda, who is a member of parliament for one of the areas in the Ahaf region, had to be arrested because he was allegedly connected to some disturbances that happened at Kukwom, among other things. All of these things are happening. And this is just a limited voter registration exercise, right? The EC is also churning out wrong and erroneous figures as far as the number of people who have registered is concerned. Yesterday, they had to do a press conference to clarify these issues. And the EC is telling us that they have changed the team that is doing the infographics and updating us with how many people have registered and all of that. So all of this tells you that this election is a high-stakes election. People are wild. The political parties, they are wild and ready. The NPP is not ready to relinquish power because they want to stay in office. They want to do everything they can to stay in office. The NDC also wants to come back into power, and they want to move heaven and earth and do everything they can to win this election. So the stakes are high. I mean, you've got other people like Nana Kwame Bediako of the New Force, Alan Tramanting of the Movement for Change, or now the Alliance for Revolutionary Change, who are also coming into the fray. There are other people who have popped up who also want to contest. And this is going to be a very keenly contested election because the stakes are high. The stakes are very high. And when there is a high-stakes election, the potential for trouble to come, the potential for trouble to befall this country becomes high. And that is something that we should be very wary of, because even just a limited voter registration exercise is degenerating into chaos. Just a limited voter registration exercise. It's not people going to vote, people just going to register. Right? People who have turned 18 or who have turned 18 in the last 4 years, or people who have never registered before. They're just going to get their names onto the electoral roll so that they can vote in 2024. And political parties are taking advantage of this to get people they believe will be sympathetic towards their cause to go and register. In some cases, there are reports of minors being registered. We even heard in some instances that there are people who are minors who have actually had their names captured on the electoral roll. And the EC has even had to apologize to some people for capturing their names on the electoral roll, even though they were minors. And the EC is blaming the guarantor system. And some of these systems are being abused. The stakes are high, and trouble is beginning to happen. So we need to be very careful, very, very careful that as we go into the 2024 elections, we are not sowing the seeds of larger trouble. Because in the last election, it was a bit chaotic. I mean, we saw some of the incidents that happened at Techiman South, and all of those places. And we also had reports of people being shot and killed during the electioneering period. That was the year 2020. Now we're going to 2024 elections, and the stakes are very high. We need to be careful. And these are some of the things that Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams has been speaking about, that there could be troubles for this country if we do not take care. There could be troubles for this country as far as this election is concerned. Let's take a listen to him.
Nobody should think that the Ghanaian is a very gentle, don't like trouble human being. It's not true, because I saw what happened 79 and 81, and they were Ghanaians. And some of the violence and the murderers and unrest in certain parts of this country, like what's going on in Boko and other places, they are all Ghanaians. And if we don't manage things well, and we have this mentality and thinking that any party can do whatever they want to do, and the Ghanaian will accept it, and the Ghanaian will live for it, you might be playing with fire. Make no mistake. Because when people are desperate and are hungry, they don't care about what happens. And hungry and desperate people are very dangerous people to manage and to deal with. When demons come into town and possess people, then you will know that maybe you really didn't understand the Ghanaian, because when a demon enters a person, it doesn't care about your tribe or your citizenship. It rules you. So I think that, Mr. Former President, and to your party, we should be very aware of some of these things.
We should be very aware of some of these things. Very aware of some of these things. If you think that the Ghanaian is a cool, I don't like trouble person, you may be mistaken. This is what the Archbishop of the Action Chapel is saying. And we need to be very, very careful. And I will only end by saying that the Electoral Commission should conduct itself in a manner that will leave absolutely no doubt in the minds of Ghanaians that it is a credible and impartial arbiter of our elections. The EC should do very well and put things in place to maintain an image of impartiality, an image of credibility, and an image of competence. If the EC is able to do this, then we are taking a step towards having peaceful elections. But if the EC is not able to do this, then we may be in trouble, because if people have the perception that the EC is trying to massage figures, is trying to engage in machinations, and already those allegations are being leveled against the Electoral Commission because of things that are happening with the limited registration exercise. The NDC wants to record serial numbers of BVDs. Before that, we heard that some BVDs were missing. Some BVDs were auctioned off. Now, the limited registration exercise is happening, and there are erroneous figures that are being churned out. And all of this doesn't help with the image of the Electoral Commission. So the Electoral Commission will do well to ensure that they do things in such a way that everybody who is sitting back and watching believes that, oh, the EC is credible, the EC is doing well, the EC is conducting a free and fair election. If the EC does not do that, and people have the perception that the EC is not credible and competent enough, we could be in trouble. Also, we as Ghanaians, we should bear it in our minds that if this country degenerates into civil war, it is we, the people, who are going to suffer. We are going to suffer. We do not want that to happen. Thank God it has not happened before in Ghana, especially in the history of the Fourth Republic. It has not happened, and we do not want it to happen. We don't want people to die because of elections. We don't want people to get injured because of elections. Let us bear in mind that the politicians that we are fighting for, or the politicians that will get injured for, the politicians that we want to die for, when they get into office, they are going to be enjoying the largesse of the state. They are going to be receiving their salaries and their ex gratia and their emoluments, and the state is going to take care of them. What is that politician going to do for you? That's a question you should ask yourself. What is that politician going to do for you that you have to go and die for him? What is that politician going to do for you that you have to go and get injured for him? Maybe your leg is cut off, or your hand is cut off, or your eye gets burst, or something like that. You are maimed for life because of a politician. There are people like that who are there today and they've got absolutely nothing for the politicians that they fought for. There are some people who have actually died in the last election because of politics. Let's think about these things as Ghanaians. Because if you die, you get maimed or injured because of a politician, of what benefit is it going to be to you? Because if history has taught us anything, it is that the politicians that we've had, especially in the history of the Fourth Republic, really come and do the same things. They'll come in and do it. They'll do a few roads, put up one or two hospitals, do this here, do this there. But you realize that the chunk of it is that the country is not moving forward in the direction in which we want it to go. The economy will always be bad. There will always be corruption. There will always be something that will happen. And it's like these politicians who are in office are doing the exact same things. And the underlying thing is that it looks like they are in for their own selfish interest. In for their own selfish interest. Because when they get the power, then they're able to do the things that they want to do. It's not just yesterday that we're talking about an attempt by SNIT to sell off Labadi Beach Hotel, which is actually making money, making profits. We understand they pay dividends to governments the last time. The Lantam Royal Beach Hotel, the Elmina Beach Resort, and others, 4. Trying to sell 60% stake to a company which has a director who is a current minister of state called Brian Echampo. I've heard him say he doesn't have any monetary interest in, the Rock City hotels, which is the one which is in question now, who want to buy these facilities from states. But then again, this is a politically exposed figure who is part of an organization which is trying to buy 60% stake in government property. SNIT, which manages our pensions, so it is even our monies, right? The monies that we contribute to pensions, that is being used to manage this. You see, it's all about interest in this country. It's all about interest. Politicians will do what they have to do to get the contracts. When their party comes into office, they get the contracts to do the roads, to build the school buildings and the hospitals. It's all about interest. That is why they are fighting for power. It's not because of you. It's not because of me. It's not because they love Ghana and they want Ghana to prosper. No, because of their interest. That is why a lot of the youth today feel that the best way to make money easily is to get into politics. So at the youth level, they get involved in SRC and all of that at the school level, and then they enter into politics because they believe that when they get into politics and they are fighting for their party to come into power, that is when they can also get nokofio to eat. But politics should not be about that. Politics should be about the interest of the people. But no. History has taught us that the politicians that we have care about themselves first. Before they even think about they'll do the barest minimum for you. They will not transform your life. That's why Ghana is where it is. So before we think about dying for a politician or getting injured for a politician, let's think about some of these things. That's it for Inside Out. And it's time for Court Today with Murtala Inusa, who has joined me in the studio. Captain.
Lantam, man, Lantam. Good morning. I like your fire this morning. You're pushing a lot of fire in there. Elections are supposed to be peaceful.
Yeah, elections are supposed to be peaceful.
You are really going there to make a decision, take a decision, exercise your franchise. Nothing more, nothing less. So why go and fight?
Yeah, why go and fight?
Why go and fight?
What is the politician going to do for you when he comes into office?
If we are 10 years, why must he have 11? If we are 20, why must he be 21? It's as simple as that. Why must we die? Why must people get injured? Why should there be hula balloon, left, right, and violence everywhere? Just because you want to go and choose the leader. Let the people decide.
Yeah. It should be peaceful. It should be peaceful. But anyway, we've got a lot to discuss today about the things that happen in the court.
I tell you.
We are interested in it.
Absolutely.
So it's time for Court Today with Murtala Inusa. Yes, and Mutalai Nusa has got the details of the things that have been happening in court from yesterday and the things that we're expecting to happen in court today. So let's begin from what's been happening with the case involving the man who is at the center of robbing the second lady. What happened in that case?
Yes, Yahuza Osman, self-acclaimed businessman. Yesterday he was in court. Justice Lydia Osema, for as it were, presided over this case. And what actually took place was that state prosecutors indicated to the court that, yes, they have filed first batch of disclosures. Yesterday they have filed the second batch. In fact, this time around include some witness statements that they will intend. Witnesses will be coming to court to testify. So the second batch of disclosures include witness statement and some other process. However, they'll still need more time to be able to file a third batch, and that will pave way for case management conference to be conducted, and the court that will set the tone for the trial to commence. So at case management level, they're looking at the number of witnesses, the kind of languages they will be speaking, whether an interpreter will be needed, and what document should prosecution, as it were, furnish the accused person, and whether the accused persons and their lawyers have received all that the prosecution have filed. If that is clear, then the court fixed the date for trial to commence. So yesterday, prosecution indicated that they found more of their processes, including witness statement, and they are asking for more time. So this case has been adjourned to June 6th.
To June 6th?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the Saglemi housing case,
Yes.
Where the Chief Director for the Ministry of Works and Housing, who is the first prosecution witness, was expected to undergo further cross-examination. What happened?
So yesterday there was an activity, the court saw Justice Ernest Owusudapa, your friend. Yes. So the parties were there, Alaji Collins Dauda, the other remaining accused persons were all present in court, the parties were present. And of course, there was an activity, the business of the day was carried out, and also it had been adjourned. So hopefully, in the course of the week, it will also come up again.
Okay. What about the ambulance case, the case where, there were some purchase of ambulances, and there's a Richard Japa involved in this,
yes.
and case Lato falls in as well.
Yes.
What's happening in that case?
Yes, so yesterday, Mr. Richard Japa was able to conclude reading of his witness statements,
Right.
Over 130, about 134 paragraph witness statement. So yesterday he concluded and he completed reading it by way of his evidence in chief. And in summary, all that he's saying that the state has not suffered any financial loss. Because as we
there's
speak,
no financial loss to the state.
Absolutely. As we speak,
far as the purchase of the
vehicles
ambulances
are
concerned.
with governments. The government has not given it to anybody. The fact that supposedly the ambulances suffered, all the things that they were trying to bring to resolve that one are all with government. So where lies the financial loss to the state? So yesterday ended that, and he is facing cross-examination, first from lawyers of Dr. Kasiela Tofosin, led by Dr. Aziz Bamba. So yesterday he started cross-examination. Dr. Bamba indicated that only 6 hours. So yesterday he had the opportunity to use 2 hours. So the remaining 4 hours will be shared from tomorrow and then subsequent court sittings. So yesterday, Mr. Japa began his cross-examination after ending his evidence in chief.
All right, so let's talk about the Galamsey case, where a constituency chairman of the NPP in the Ashanti region is involved. What's happening in that case? Chairman
Bona, yes, yesterday that case also came up before Justice Lydia Osema. And interestingly, what the prosecution did indicate, Watson, Adama, state attorney, indicated to the court that the second accused, the chairman of the NPP, has, through his lawyers, filed plea bargaining processes with the Attorney General to, as it were, go under that particular section to have a discussion to be able to have that particular charges that have been leveled against him resolved. So he has activated a plea bargaining processes with the Attorney General, saying that it is under consideration. So the Justice Lydia Osema has adjourned this case again to June 7th, hoping that that day there will be further updates on what has happened by way of the plea bargaining. But the Chinese man in question, the ex-lover of GHOne, he hasn't filed anything of that sort, so his case will be dealt with and follow the normal court proceeding. Okay. But of course, once you begin a plea bargaining process, doesn't mean that you get what you want. It is only when the Attorney General agreed on the terms that is where you have to come to court and then tell the court that this is what we have agreed on. You have to plead guilty to whatever offenses that have been leveled against you, and then the punishment, just that the punishment will reduce.
All right.
Yes.
So for a long time, we hadn't heard of a case involving a caregiver at Agboba, I believe, who was seen on camera. Was she seen on camera?
Yes, it was a CCTV camera.
CCTV camera
absolutely,
footage, you know,
absolutely.
maltreating a baby.
Absolutely.
Right, and there was a lot of outrage. An 11-month-old baby. There was a lot of outrage about that.
Yes.
So what has happened with her case?
Yeah, so there are many who have actually lost track of this very case for a while now. This incident happened in May 18, 2021. That was when the incident happened. Yeah. We are in May. Today is 22nd May. So exactly
like about a year.
3 years.
Exactly, I mean 3 years. Exactly
yes.
3 years.
Absolutely. So yesterday...
there was a lot of outrage about this because they saw how she was treating an 11-month-old baby.
Especially when the CCTV camera, as it were, brought us what actually took place. And so yesterday, before Justice Marie Louise Simon, Criminal Court 2, she has been able to reach an agreement with the state by way of plea bargaining processes. Negotiations went in, and then they have agreed that, yes, he was charged with manslaughter. Yes, the charge will be maintained, but he will save the state's time if you have to pull resources to be able to go through the trial, to be a jury trial, if you have to go through the whole for it to be already 3 years is gone, and then we haven't. So
and she's been in.
No, she was granted bail. She was granted bail. She spent about 11 months in lawful custody, and after she was granted bail. So looking at all these situations and what has accounted for, she has agreed, and Attorney General has agreed that yes, due to what has happened, she has shown remorse and all that. So plea bargaining accepted, and she agreed to serve 5 years custodial sentence in hard labor, which the court yesterday endorsed that. So her earlier plea of not guilty was changed to guilty. And then she was convicted and subsequently or consequently sentenced to 5 years in prison in hard labor. So that is the outcome of this very case. The caregiver at Agbogba, Happy Home, Bloomers School. That's where the incident happened. And
we're seeing some finality to that
absolutely,
case.
That is where we have
she's taking a plea deal.
Absolutely. And
charged with manslaughter.
At the time that the incident happened, she is 56 years. And then you are dealt with as and when the incident. So you are maintaining the 56 because that was when the age she was when the incident happened. So 3 years ago, if you add 3 to 56, that would be like 59 years now. Yes. So you have to go and serve 5 years in prison custody.
Okay. So what about the Cocoa Board case?
Yes, Dr. Stephen Kobnopuni, Seidu Agongo, Agricord Ghana Limited. So Mr. Seidu Agongo, the second accused person, his company, Agricord Ghana Limited, the third accused person, are still having their witnesses testify. So the fourth witness is, we told you about the fact that it's in the witness box, being led to, as it were, give his evidence in chief. He was continuing that yesterday before Justice Abuaje Tando, and so it's expected to continue again today. So that case is on. Fourth defense witness for Seidu Agongo is still in the witness box.
Okay. And Michael Nyineku is expected to call a sixth witness today in the Beige Bank case.
Yes. So the day before yesterday, he, as it were, called his fifth witness, came to court, give evidence in chief by way of witness statement read in open court, and then was subjected to cross-examination by state prosecutors led by Mrs. Evelyn Kilson, a chief state attorney. And so that case, he was discharged today. Justice Efiasewa Saribotri has said that the fifth witness, the sixth witness, I must say, be brought. But something also, the court also made certain orders. It said, look, Mr. Nyineku indicated that he became 61 witnesses. So far, on record, 7 witnesses or 7 witness statements have been filed. So today we are expecting the 6th, and then the next court sitting will be the 7th. What happened to the rest? The court is saying that by the close of this month, 31st of May, the remaining 50 4 witnesses who will be coming to court to testify. Their witness statement should be filed. If by the close of that period, it is not filed, the number that is filed, the court will seal it and say, this is what you want to call. So that is the challenge to the lawyer to be able to. So today, we expect, apart from the witness coming to give evidence, we expect to hear an update in relation to that. But Mr. Titus has indicated that it is impossible to do that within the time period. Absolutely.
So they will try. So we'll see how that plays out. There's also an attempted murder case slated for today.
Yeah, Pius Ayoma, that young man who is charged for allegedly trying to take the life of his former boss, is back in court with prosecution witnesses in the witness box to continue with their testimonies and evidence in relation to this very matter. So, Sefako Bache is the principal state attorney who is handling this very case. So we expect this case to come up before Justice Lydia Osema.
All right. And finally, the Safina Mohammed case in the Ashali Butri murder issue.
Absolutely. So
what's up with that case?
I remember the last update I gave you in relation to this case. I told you about the fact that the trial was supposed to have commenced beginning of this month, but of course there is some directive from the Chief Justice that look at how the jury, the jury are on strike. They haven't returned yet. They are still on strike because of their unpaid allowances. So virtually all cases that the jury are involved have been adjourned. Anytime it is called, it's been adjourned. And in relation to this very case, what we expect to happen is that already the court has given indication that all the dates that have been taken for the trial to commence this legal year has been waived. A new date is expected to be picked today for the trial to commence in the next legal year. And the next legal year begins in October. So this very legal year will end at the 1st of July, and then 2 months in between is a 2-month legal vacation. Then in October, the new legal year will begin. So all indictable cases that require the jury that have been started will commence next legal year.
Okay, very well. So these are the cases to expect in court today,
and
right?
then there are some other cases at the Supreme Court, but that's the time we'll bring up to the speed
Okay.
what will be happening in relation to those
Thank
cases.
you very much, Murtala Inusa, as always. Thank you for bringing us
Thank you, Lantam.
the updates from the
have
courts.
a great day.
And that's it for Courts Today with Murtala Inusa. Do stay tuned, and when we return, the breakfast review will be on. Before that, we'll tell you what's in the newspapers as well. Stay tuned. This is GH Today.
Good morning going out to all of you, and thank you for keeping faith with us every morning. You have options, but you choose us, and so we don't take it for granted. We say thank you very much. It's now time for the breakfast review. This morning, there are a number of issues to unpack, and as always, is an all-female contingent. Well, we're waiting for one female guest, but one of my guests is here, and we'll start with her shortly. But we'll look at the Kai Empowerment Initiative commissioned by the Vice President. This was a campaign promise prior to the 2016 general elections. 8 years down the lane, it's been fulfilled. But will it serve its intended purpose 8 years on? My guest this morning is Hajia Saadatu Alasan. She's a member of the NDC communications team. We're waiting for Elena Madeko. She's a member of the NPP communications team. Hajia, good morning to you.
Good morning, sweetheart.
How are you? Thank you. You look great as always too. Let's start off with the Kai Empowerment Initiative. You are from the north. For this as a campaign promise prior to 2016 elections, the NPP is in power. I want us to look at it dispassionately, away from party colors, and look at the issues head on as to what will help the ordinary young woman, especially from the north. What's your assessment, or what's your impression of this?
Okay, Lily, good morning to you once again. And
good morning.
To our cherished viewers out there, and to the visionary leader, the talk and do man, the man who we can trust.
Are you referring to Dr. Baumia?
Of course, you know.
Oh, I was just asking.
Definitely.
Because I mean we're talking about the Kyrie, so I was a bit confused.
Yes, I have to do this as part of my intro. I have to. I mean, send the most greetings to His Excellency, the next President of the Republic of Ghana, come January 2025, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the man who has promised Ghanaians that in spite of all these challenges, there is still hope for Ghanaians. We still have something that we can hold on to. The man who has brought the biggest initiative, which is the 24-hour economy, is going to give every young man a hope of a sustainable job. What we are going to do is that you and I are going to have to invest in our own economy. People are scared of investing now because the more they invest, the more the economy gets worse. And so people are afraid to invest. But His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is telling you that if you are somebody who is in share butter business, just keep it up. 24-hour economy is coming to give you more hope. You're going to employ more people and you're going to do more exportation so you can get more and more money, as in your economy is going to boost. And so I would again say good morning to His Excellency, the next President, John Dramani Mahama. Lily, talking about the Kayais, you and I would testify that I am coming from up north, and I know what is happening there. If you're going to tackle this problem, I think we should tackle it at the root source.
Absolutely, I agree.
And what is the root source? Poverty.
Endemic poverty.
Yes. And then underdevelopment, and then lack of good education. Nobody, I repeat, no human being should be seen carrying things on their head just to have food on their table. It is inhuman. It is not dignified. And so a lot of these young women come to the southern part just so they could survive. Yeah. Because if you go up north, it's not easy. I know that you have been there, if at least if not once, twice. And I have been there on countless time. And a lot of these young women, Lily, you should know this, that some of them are educated somehow, but how to continue with their education becomes a problem. And so if we are tackling this issue, we should tackle it from there. For me, I think that this initiative could have done up north. It would have sent 100 of them back home. And it would have kept 100 of them who are planning coming to Accra to stay.
But is this not one step? I mean, we have an influx of them. We have over 100,000 of them in the Greater Accra region alone. And so if this is to look at the influx of them, okay, so let's take care of these ones. Then we take a look at why these things or these women, young women are coming down, so then we can tackle it. Is this not
Lily, that is not it. This initiative would only call in more of them to come to Accra. This initiative is going to tell some of them that, hey, look, they are building houses for us. They are building
hope.
There is hope. So let's get going.
Okay.
Let's just stay back. We should start moving. And so what we are saying is that this initiative should have been done up north. And then this will take a lot of them back, as I said. And one other thing I heard the Vice President talking about is that they are going to teach them how to drive Ayalolo. And look, let's tackle this issue at the basic level. As I said earlier on, a lot of them are underage. They should be in school. They should be meant to learn how to sew. Lily, you know what? The one that follows me direct. We were born here in Accra. We practically did everything in Accra. The only thing that took her up north was her tertiary education at UDS, War Campus. But what happened is that when my sister got there, because she had already learned how to do this makeup stuff and some beads and other things, After her 4 years tertiary education, she stayed in WA for 4 good years. Because she has something doing. She was doing makeup.
She had a skill.
She had a skill. She was doing makeup and she was getting customers. At a point, I was like, what are you doing there? You live Accra and you are comfortable in the northern region. She said, sis, I am making money. You understand? And so these are some of the things that we need to teach these young ladies. Look, when they come to Accra and they are going back, do you know some of the things they buy? Liquid soap, this homemade soap, these Pamneshe dresses that are tantamount to women's soap. And so, interestingly, if some of them have these skills and they are able to do it up north, I think a lot of them...
So then this initiative is a step in the right direction. They're teaching them how to sew. They're teaching them how to make all these little things you talk
and
about.
So all of them should come to Accra.
No, but they can take it back
because
on Monday.
Lily, if you are in Accra and I realize you are getting this opportunity in Accra, what do you want me to do?
Obviously, I'll follow suit.
And so if we do this initiative, I don't want to, if this initiative was done in the northern region, up north, it would have been 50% of the solution to all this problem. And then let us not be deceiving ourselves with teaching them how to drive a lulu, teaching them how to... Look, these young women have the targets for coming to Accra. They have a budget they have made. They have families up there that they will need to send them money on daily basis. And so doing this
I had a foundation that catered for Kayai. And I tell you what, these young women, once you take them for skill training, they leave. Because then you are denying them the daily 10 cities, 20 cities.
Of course.
Because in a month, they have a specific target to send home.
Sure.
So once you take them to the skill training and they are unable to get the time to go carry load and get the usual 10 cities, they leave.
Of course. That is why His Excellency GHOne Dramani Mahama brought up the initiative of apprenticeship. If you remember some time ago, that they will be training skills. But then they will be paid on daily basis. At least when the person knows I'm learning a skill, but at the end of the day, I'm going to get my 50 cedis, my 20 cedis. At least when my mom calls me or my sister calls me, I'll have something to send back home. It's going to encourage the person. And then at the end of this initiative, GHOne Dramani Mahama brought up, is that after all this, they'll be given a seed money to start up something. These are some of the initiatives we should be looking at. We shouldn't just... And this initiative, this promise was done way back in 2020, before 2020 election. And you are doing it because it's an election year.
No, this actually was... The first time it was made was prior to 2016. That was then
Of
candidate.
course,
yes.
of course. But in 2020, it was hammered again and again and again. And then barely 6 months to elections, you put up this and then you want us to... I mean, no, I'm not saying that
there was COVID, there was Russia-Ukraine war.
Lily, don't do that to our viewers, please.
But that's the argument every time that we had COVID. COVID stalled all the plans the government had, and then came Russia-Ukraine war,
Lily,
which has set our economy to our knees.
Lily, you yourself, you are laughing over what
no,
you
I'm
are
not.
saying.
I like the way you are saying I shouldn't do this to our viewers, but that's the reality.
Because look, it's about time we bury this COVID thing, we bury this Ukraine-Russia thing, because even in Russia, as we speak now, they are on single inflation, and you know that. And so we should bury this. You see, incompetency comes with some sort of excuses, and Russia, Ukraine, COVID gave MPP a big opportunity to, always run around Russia and Ukraine, but that is not the issue. We all know what is happening, and looking at the initiative yesterday, the Vice President put up, it's just a target for votes, and I'm not condemning it totally, but you should have done in a better way that it will solve problem. Even if your target is to win votes, make sure that That's taxpayers' money you invested in this project will yield a result. It shouldn't be just putting up something because you want to gain your vote, just putting up something so that they will say you have fulfilled your promise. No. Do something that in a long way, just as His Excellency John Dramani Mahama put up Legon Hospital. In a long way, today Ghanaians are benefiting from it. Most of them are the people in power. They will condemn it, and then the next moment you go there and they align them there in very comfortably, sick but very comfortably. You understand? Put up something that in the end, Ghanaians will benefit from it. It wouldn't be a waste of taxpayers' money. Because how many Kaya would this accommodate? We have over millions of them in Accra. How many of them will get the opportunity?
Of them, not quite. 100,000 of them.
Lily.
Yes.
Lily.
That's the ones we can.
Lily.
Not in Accra, if you say millions, but in the country.
Yes, you go.
Across the country.
Oh, I mean, okay. Let's say yes.
Across the board, yes.
Across the board.
We can say probably a million, but to say millions.
Of course. So how many of them would have this opportunity? And so you do something, and then we make sure that at least the money that is invested would yield results.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next topic. The OSP has uncovered ghost names on the payroll. Why are you laughing, Hajia? And you know that annually we lose about 100 million to these ghost names on our payroll. So he saved at least some 34 million. Why are you laughing, Hajia?
Lily, I'm wondering why Helen Amadeko is not here.
Probably she's stuck in traffic, I'm sure.
When I saw the topic your producer gave, I was picturing how Helen is going to communicate or defend or talk about this issue.
But who want to defend this? I'm not sure she will seek to defend.
If we have people defending Cecilia Dapa, we'll definitely have people who will defend this. Lily. You see, first of all, let me commend the OSP for his braveness. I now understand what he meant when he said that he's being heckled. He's being frustrated from doing his job. And I now understand the level of corruption, the deep level of corruption in this government. When we have leaders, no matter what you do, Lily, in everything you do, be accompanied with principles. Make sure that whatever you are doing, you have principles that guides you.
Will you then, not to take you away from the point or belabor the point, but will you then will you commend Martin Amidu because he has principles and so he wants the current OSP removed, current SP?
that is a matter I'll go into it.
But we'll go into that. But I just want to say that would you then commend if you talk about principles?
Oh, I would not entirely say that principle because in the case of Matamido, I don't know what is pushing him. I don't know what is fueling him.
Okay, but so let's come back
from the same Mati Amidu, if I should borrow his words, he said President Nanado is the mother serpent of corruption. And so I don't know what is currently fueling him in whatever he's doing. But you could see that immediately Mati Amidu submitted his petition to the president with regards to the OSP. The president forwarded it to the AJ. Which there are a lot, the CJ, sorry. There are a lot of petitions on the table of the president. Yet he chose to put them under his drawer, but then quickly forward that of the OSP to the CJ, which is very interesting. Now, when I say leaders should be accompanied with principle, I am talking about our vice president. Our vice president, wherever you are, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, I'm going to give you this advice. Probably the God you serve or your ancestors are not okay with the lies you always peddle. And so anytime you peddle a lie, the next minute you are being exposed. It's about time you learn from these mistakes and then you stop lying to Ghanaians. Why do I say that? This is the same vice president who told Ghanaians that we do not need to give Muhammad credit for solving doom so. And then the next minute, he's found saying that we have solved doom so. One lie. This is the vice president who says that I have arrested the dollar and I have given the key to the IGP. Today, the dollar is not only on the run, it's on a marathon. Another lie. This is a president who said, oh, we are, people of Cape Coast, we have a good news for you. We are building the airport. Today, the people of Cape Coast are at his doorstep asking for the airport. Another big lie from a leader. Not any other leader, but the second gentleman of this land. This is the same man who said we are doing the Palugu Dam. Only for Media House to get there, and the land is as dry as the desert. Another big lie. And then today we are here to discuss another lie that has been exposed by Bawumia. I have forgotten to even include that of the nurses. He didn't only went there to lie to them. When he was given a stage, a very beautiful stage was mounted for him to campaign and give Ghanaians the message he has. He went on the stage. He was dancing offbeat dance as if he was using a battery in dancing, as if there is somebody sitting behind using a remote control to control the way he dances. He didn't only do that. He ended up telling the nurses that we wanted to, get at his opponent, and then he said, we are paying you your allowances, and somebody says he's going to cancel alawa, and then a young nurse walked to him and said that, man, please, if you are not informed, be informed. I am in my 3rd year. I've never received any dime from alawa. And then he says, I will speak to the finance minister, and on Thursday, you will receive your allowances. Another manufactured lie, sugar-coated lie, publicly on a stage where everybody is watching you. As a vice president, the whole world is watching you, and then you peddle this lie, and it's about 2 weeks now, and the nurses are saying that the only thing they hear is that they call them and say, be on alert, we will call you. Be on alert, we will tell you this. And then today we are here again to defend another lie. In 2022, Vice President Bawumia said to Ghanaians that we have been able to eliminate ghost name from the Controller and Accountant Office. In 2022, right after the presidential primaries, Bawumia again in that cook and boo speech he gave to Ghanaians said that, and in fact, he was using that as an achievement of his, as an achievement as a digitalization man. That as part of our initiative, as part of the digitalization, we are able to eliminate the ghost name from our system. Today, it has gone beyond ghost names. It is a ghost school. Lily, an entire school that does not exist is taking salary every month. What do we call this? Does Vice President Bawumia have a little pride or dignity? Does the Vice President sit down 1 minute and ask himself that, no, am I on the right path, even if it is being written for him? Isn't this shame too much for him, for his children? Because Lily, when my boy was on vacation and I'm on program, he takes time and watch, and when I come back home, he will tell me that, Mommy, this your grammar, there is a problem. This your submission, you did well. That is my small boy. So how does Baumia's children feel? His brothers, his in-laws, his uncles, his friends, his colleagues, his former schoolmates, how do they feel when they see Baumia being exposed every blessed day on lies? Sis, it's not about any other thing. Lies. Lies, oh. From the man we call our vice president, for God's sake, who in any way question you about ghost name. We all know about this ghost name. And we were all finding a solution to it. Everybody is doing his bit to make sure that we clear this. And then you come out without anybody putting a gun on your head. And then you say, we have eliminated totally ghost names from our system.
That's true. That was his words, exactly.
Look at where we are now today. I feel ashamed as a northerner. I feel ashamed as a Muslim. I feel ashamed as a politician to have to discuss every blessed day the lies of Baumia.
But
and it is becoming...
How does his religion,
Islam
factor?
is totally against lies. Not only Islam. Christianity is against lies. And even those who worship the smaller gods, I'm sorry to use that word, it's against lies.
But don't you think at the time he mentioned that that was the report on his table? He cannot go to these offices to ascertain these reports himself. So what is brought to his table is what he...
So what is brought on your table, when you are talking about it, leave impunity out of it. Do not beat your chest on it because it was submitted to you. You didn't do your own findings. And it is becoming chronic, Ellen. Because last week we discussed... Lily. Because I'm praying that along the line she join us.
She's almost here.
Lily, last week we sat on a studio to discuss one lie about Baumia.
Which was?
Palugudam.
Okay.
This week we are discussing another lie. Oh my God. This is worrying. A whole school.
But shouldn't it be refreshing to know that at least we're a step towards eliminating these names? I mean, the OSP and the controller are up and doing.
Now what is happening?
At least the country has been saying something.
What is the arrow targeting the OSP? What is the arrow targeting the OSP? The arrow that is targeting the OSP now is that he's being accused of corruption and he should be meant to step aside. This is the same man who has been appointed by the president to fight corruption.
But that was not the president's doing. I mean, pointing fingers at him. That was not the president's fingers.
Nobody is saying it's the president's doing. But is he not fighting corruption?
That was actually the person who is pointing arrow at him is from your party.
Oh, of course. So that is why I said I don't know what is fueling it. I don't know his reasons. I've not taken my time to follow his reasons and why he's doing that. But isn't the OSP doing a good job? From your own analysis, isn't he doing a good job? At least saving Ghana this amount of money from this ghost school, not only ghost name, ghost school entirely. Isn't it an achievement? Isn't it a plus for the OSP?
Well, that is a plus. I mean, for the OSP and the controller.
Of course. And so we are going to fight corruption. We should take, just as John Dramani Mahama said, we should take the fighting of corruption to a next level. And in fact, John Dramani Mahama has done this before. I always make reference to Abuga Pele, who happens to be our own man, under our own regime, who was jailed. That is a sign of fighting corruption. The Bas Brandon, it's a sign of fighting corruption. Victoriama, who had the ambition of earning $1 million, was sacked, is a sign of fighting corruption.
But he didn't fight Sedina.
That is how.
I asked, you didn't fight Sedina? Or at the time?
There wasn't anything like that.
There was nothing like that?
Of course.
But how come, I mean, after she left office, it was uncovered?
It was uncovered and she was dealt with. If we are in government and we have jailed Abuga Pele, we have no problem when we are in opposition and then Sedinam is being handled. You understand? What we are saying is that when you want to fight corruption, you start it with your own people. You start tackling corruption anytime. From the way I see it, looks like our president feels everybody he works with is a saint. And so every corruption allegations, he brushes it off, and then the next moment he's clearing the person. But that is impossible, highly impossible, because you cannot know the in and out of everybody you work with. It would have to take someone to tell you that, hey, look at your back, something is happening. You get it? And so that is how we fight corruption. That is how we should all come together and fight corruption. Start with your own people. It's long overdue. We always have, every week, recently, almost every week, we have a corruption issue to talk about. I'm sure by next week, we're going to start talking about another corruption scandals. And my sister, the OSP, at least on this one, I am applauding him. I am sending him hugs, and I am telling him that he should keep up, because it's not easy to fight the same people who appointed you and survive it. And so I now understand what he meant by Ankwa Numa, Niyema Femudi, or whatever they say. Then, yes, I now understand.
Ellen Amadeko is a member of the NPP communications team and she's joined us. Ellen, you are late, but Akwaba.
I'm late because I'm a mother. I have to send my children to school. So it's a tough business. Good morning to our viewers.
Good morning to you. We've been discussing, well, we spoke about the Kai Empowerment Initiative. I don't know if you want to take a bite at it, because we moved on to the OSP and covering ghost schools and ghost names in the payroll audit.
Well, good morning to our viewers, and good morning to my flag bearer, Alhaji Dr. Mohammed Baumia. And kudos to him and the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for fulfilling a promise that they did make to our brothers and sisters who come down from the north every time to come. Most of them, it's not all of them that are from the north, but most of them are from the northern parts of this country, and they come down to come and work. And we know there are specific circumstances when they do come down, from especially the women or the girls who are part of it, from sleeping outside and being exposed to weather conditions and all manner of things, to being raped and to being sexually abused, to a lot of them have children that they didn't plan for. They got them because they were raped, and to them being robbed. Some of them are robbed of their day sales and all the things they have. And when I go to the market, I am conflicted usually, because I do need the help. I cannot obviously carry all the things that I have, and so they offer an essential service to us. But their circumstances and their conditions have always been a source of worry for me. And so this initiative, I believe, if we're able to sustain it and keep it, we are going to have them trained, because a lot of them come down because they simply do not have any life skills. And so they are coming to use their bodies and hard labor to make money, to make a living. So for me, this is an initiative that is good, and we need to keep it up. I've listened to the Youth Employment Agency. It's not just the building that they are giving them. They're actually going to train them on whatever trade that they want. And so some have chosen to learn how to make, soap and all the different types, from the bathing soap to the liquid soap that we use in our kitchens, to anything soap or detergents. Some are going for dressmaking, some are going for makeup, some are going for hairdressing, bead making. And right now there's even, if you've noticed, there's a collaboration between bead making and dressmaking. A lot of us are using beads on our local dresses, so there's a huge market. I recently got a dress or a cabin slit, and I decided, well, let me try the beading. And I was surprised at how much it cost. So if you get that too as a trade, I mean, it's one of the most lucrative things you can do, because per dress, of course, depending on your size, you can pay as much as between 300 cedis to 1,500 cedis, depending on the cloth and everything that you want. So I think it's also a good thing. And then let's not forget that we are talking about Kaya Yi, but we've forgotten that there are also Kaya Nu.
Kayahin.
Or okay, in Ghana is what?
Kayahin.
That's the plural.
Yes.
Okay. So we also have headquarters who are men and they are boys, and they are quite a substantial number. From what I hear, this hostel for now is exclusively for the women. And I heard the CEO of NEIP saying that Madam Natoshi from the what's her place? The district assemblies, common fund, through the district assemblies, are also looking at building some facilities for the men too. Because we usually talk about abuse on women. We forget that the boys are also abused.
And it's something that is I'm very passionate about.
I totally
always say
agree.
that we're always talking about our girls. Who's taking care of our boys?
That's true. So we need to also look at that. And I totally agree with what the Vice President said, that a society that does not take care of its poor is vulnerable, on its weak people. We are not a good society. So it's good that we are making efforts to sort it out.
But Ellen, let me ask you, in your submission, you said a lot of them come down without skill training. So why not channel this initiative up north so they get the skill training? Because they come down south to learn these skills, these skills, and then to earn a living.
We are trying to sort out this issue. Let's not forget, for the past 7 years, this government has been pushing free SHS. And I have been one of the people who has felt both the benefits and what I'll say, some of the downsides. Look, for the middle-class families in Accra, who used to get house helps from whichever part of the country because the person has finished GSS. Now it's very difficult. You will not get a house help who is under 15 years. You won't get, because everybody's child is going to school. So this is a systematic thing that we have to deal with. And this government started dealing with it by making sure that at least that free SHS system where children can go to school and they do not have to come down and work is in place. So what we are dealing with is those who, by whichever no fault of theirs, have fallen through the cracks of education and have ended up here. Let's not also forget that these are not people who have been here just the last 7 years. Some have been here for 10 years. Some have been here for 15 years. And that is why
lived here,
had children, yes.
Their children going to the trade.
Exactly. So we are trying to solve that problem. But the basic or the what do I call it? The roots of the problem, I believe education is sorting it out. The Vice President in his tour of the North made a statement that the greatest people who enroll, the greatest numbers in this country are coming from the 5 northern regions. Those who are actually enrolling in free SHS. And the good thing about it too is that the parity, girls who are staying at home because families had to make a choice. If there are 2 children in the home and they've all passed and there's a boy and a girl and the families had to make a decision on who go to school, usually the boys go and they leave their sisters behind. Now we don't have to do that. So it means that the frequency and the number of people coming down here is going down, is drastically going down. Now the issue is that what do you do with those who are already in the system? And that is why this initiative for me, I think is one of the greatest things that we can do for ourselves and for our brothers and sisters who are coming from the north.
But you know
let's also not forget, let me interrupt, that it's not only the people from the north who are coming. There are quite a lot of people from central region too. I was surprised when I saw the statistics.
From the regions.
And for my region too, I mean, well, we are closer to the north, so I add us to the northern part of Ghana. But
well, technically, if you're mentioning the northern part,
yes, it's part.
Yeah.
The Bunu Ahafo and
Yes,
Bunu is.
yeah.
I mean, they are my people, so I also know the number of Bunu people who also come down here. Look, in Ahafo, you know what we were doing? Like boys, they come down, they come to Kumasi and become Sushine boys. The chief there said it. Now it's all gone. Everybody, if you have the opportunity, you have to go to school. This is for those who have slipped through the cracks. And for me, I think it's an excellent thing. We need to continue with it. Whichever government comes into power, we need to continue with it because we need to get our people and the most vulnerable out of the streets.
So beyond training them, then what?
Then NEIP...
Mind you, these people coming and they have a target, bread and butter issue. So every week, I'm supposed to send this amount of money home. While they are training, I have a foundation that caters to Kai, and at some point I had to put it on hold because you take them through skill training and they think about every day. They quickly run away. So if they were supposed to go 5 days, now they reduce it to 3, and before you realize 2, and they don't go again because they are looking for their basic needs, everyday money coming into, because they imagine you will you?
That has been taken care of. That is why they are going through the youth NEIP.
NEIP.
No, The Youth Employment Agency. You know, before this, they had started a model where they were already training welders, they were training apprentices. You know, they'll go to I saw it in the Central Region. And I talk more of Central Region and Bunu because I live in both places. The Central Region, they went around what we call the masters in the trade. So if it's dressmaking, hairdressers, welding, whatever, the fitting, the masters and YEA actually pays the pays it to the masters, put in the people who are interested, and give them a stipend every month. The last time I checked, I think it was about 600 cedis a month. Okay. It's the same thing they are going to do for these girls. So they are not just going to be there and they are not working. They are going to get a stipend because they are going to be put through the YEA system. Wonderful. And when they are done, that is why GHOne, run by my sister Kozi, and then NEIP by Kofi Ufusun Cancer, that's why they are part of the system. They're supposed to give them monies for startups. And I think they're going to give the monies to those who are, as much as possible, want to relocate back home and go and start the businesses back home. Because we actually want those who want to go back. A lot of them do not actually want to stay in Accra. They want to go back. So those who want
I had a house help who told me that, Madam, after this number of years, I want to go back home.
So NEIP and GEA would give them the monies that are enough to set up a whole system for them and keep an eye on them for at least 3 years to make sure that they are established before they leave. And I believe by December, it's not that long. It's
from May to November.
From May to November. I mean, that should be, we can track it and we'll be able to do it. For me, who have worked with women and worked with children for years, and I have seen how terrible. Look, sometimes it is bad to the extent that you give your own children's clothing to people because you think they have enough. And for me, anything to keep these people off the streets and to help them also better their lives, it makes us a better society.
Now, let's move on to the ghost names and ghost schools.
Yes, a few days ago, I believe the vice president, I've forgotten what he said, was it in one of them that...
maybe either WA or the Upper East.
Yes,
he was shuffling between the two.
Through the... the digitalization efforts and putting systems in place, ghost names have practically been taken off our pay systems. Then a few days down the line, we get this report that says that the OSP and I've forgotten, there were two agencies,
Controller and Accountant,
were able to save us an amount of 34 million cedis. Listening to the Vice President and to the Controller and Accountant General, what they are saying, it means now to be paid on government payroll, you have to show your biometrics. So it means your Ghana card. And you cannot have 2 Ghana cards. Previously, and we can pretend that it is not true, but we knew people, I knew of a few people who were not really doing anything. When you ask them what they were, where you work, I work in the civil service. Okay. Which part of the civil service? Which agency? Can never tell you. They can never tell you the agency. You can never find them in any office. But at the end of the month, they are picking up monies. And then we have people in the system. And the OSP, I don't know if his people will come and they will tell us the processes they've been through. But the pushback and the fight that they have received from even the people in the civil service, it hasn't been easy. The system has been sabotaged a lot of times. It's just that government and we were determined that we have to get this thing going. But ourselves, every day, I tell people that politicians, because we are in your faces every time, you see us, and you're able to scrutinize what we do. I mean, if I'm working in a government agency, which I am not, I run my own business, but assuming I was, it was easy to scrutinize what I do because you see me every day and you can follow me and my agency. And when you're in opposition to it, it's easy for us to follow you and what you do. But the civil servants, and we've forgotten that the civil and public servants are the third arm of our whole system. They actually stay there for years. Look, there are ministries you go to, the ministers have been changed through whichever government 4, 5, 6 times. The chief director would be there. Assuming, I always say it. And remember, some of them too are Article 71 holders. So you make it to become the Lands Commission boss at age 40. You're going to be there till you are 60. That is 20 years of being there. 20 years of every 4 years, government changing. That Lands Commission boss is going to enjoy 20 divided by 4 times ex gratia. So if the ex gratia says you should take away your car, it means every 4 years that person takes away his official car or is able to buy it. And those people, the question you ask, we say the ministers are corrupt. Who teaches them the corruption? Because the ministers come in brand new. Most of them have
learn on the job.
They've never worked in those industries before. So who is teaching them? I will never forget the lesson in public service that my uncle, now the ambassador to India, Honorable Asmachreme, taught me. Now, he was then the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. I went to see him, and he was leaving, going home in the evening. Then we saw one official, "Oh, Minister, you'd have to sign this." When he was getting into his car, he just looked at him and said, "I'm not signing." "Oh, but Minister, it's urgent." He said, "No."
I have not gone through.
Exactly. So when we sat in the car, I was
But ironically, we have a lot of ministers who have things tabled before them.
I'm coming.
They don't even read.
I'm coming now. I haven't finished. When we said, I was like, "Oh, but uncle, you should have signed it." He was like, "No, Amma. Tomorrow morning when you come, I'll tell you what it is. Let them go and put it on my desk." So the next day I passed through the office again. He called me, "Come. Have you seen? The amount is supposed to be this." My dear, they had added 2 zeros to it. So if you're not careful, can you imagine his signature being there? And he told me that sometimes they even leave space in the checks. So you sign it, you think you are signing 2,000 cedis. There's space there. So what he does is he will put, a mark there to make sure you cannot put another zero there. I mean, there are all sorts of shenanigans going on. And these things are not, with all due respect, today, let me protect the politicians. We are not the ones doing it all. So we need to also look at our public service. And the only way you can deal with public service is through digitalization, where people simply do not have access to play the buffoonery. And that is what has happened. So that non-existent school, they had been collecting money previously.
Absolutely.
So who has the money been going to? I think the OSP should do that job and let us know. Who had been collecting it? Who is the support headmaster? Who are because if it's a school, it means
administrators.
It means they have a whole system.
Yeah.
So there should be administrators, there should be teachers, there should be students, so for the past how many years that monies were going there until they were discovered? Who have been taking the money?
Now, my question critically is, how many of these schools have we not uncovered yet?
Well, that is why this is important.
Because for somebody to be bold enough to set up a whole school in their head and be taking money, it means that this goes on across the board.
And that is why we need to all support any effort that would make human interactions in our dealings, especially to do with money, as minimal as possible. If we have to pay people, let us pay them through the banks. Let us stop that over the top business, over the desktop business. Every single cedi should go through a bank account, a Momo account, something that can be traced. No, it's now everybody is being paid. That's how come we found them. Otherwise, we will never have been. So we should still make sure that every single school that is under Ghana Education Service.
And everybody who works in any school is accounted
and
for.
not just the schools. We are talking about secondary schools. This school, I don't know what it was. Was it a primary school or a secondary school?
Yeah.
Primary. So all primary schools, all secondary schools, all universities, public universities that we pay people, everybody should have a bank account.
That's true.
And so any money that goes anywhere, we can trace it. Kudos to the controller and accountant general. Yes, you guys, some of your people, not all of you, some of you are excellent. Some of your people actually try to sabotage it, but I'm happy it's gone through. And now we are saving money. If we do this, a lot of the leakages that are going, that we blame on politicians. This one, how do you blame Minister of Education for this?
Because a list will be submitted to the minister and the Ghana Education Service.
And then they will sign off, and then it comes to controller and accountant general.
Yes.
So this, I can tell you that it may not come from the Ministry of Education because they don't pay. But then a school has been sent to them. So we also had to ask the Ministry of Education a few questions.
Yes.
Which district was this school supposed to have been in? And which district director said that the school existed? Where are pictures to show? I mean, it should have a history. So Ghana Education Service, please let us know. Because you should have somebody from your district, I don't know whichever constituency or district it is,
and these
should have signed it.
They have district directors who report to the Ghana Education Service.
So which district director did this? And why is the person still at post? Because if it were me or any of my colleagues who are politicians, whether MPP, NDC, CPP, by now all of you would have been on our heads. That person would have been home by now. So which district education director supervised this? And then which regional education director supervised it? Then we come to the head office and ask a few questions. Somebody should pay for it. And it shouldn't always be the politicians. Minister of Education, I can bet you, would not have any idea. The minister himself and his deputies, they might not know what is going on.
Because a number of these things go through the chief directors. And these chief directors are civil servants who've risen through the ranks.
Who can stay there for years? I know certain chief directors.
They've gone through all the regimes.
Who were there when His Excellency Atamils was president.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. They are there when John Mohammed took over His Excellency. They have been there for the past 8 years. The person is not yet due for retirement. What do you do to him?
That's true, yeah.
So if such a person is corrupt, do you understand what that means? It means every single minister that has passed through, they have found some way of... And if you like, in your minister, decide that you are going to fight them, I can bet you that you will not last.
I think a number of these ministers or government appointees trust them so much.
Because they are the technocrats.
I have been to some colleagues' offices, some colleagues of yours' offices, and the moment a letter or a paper is brought before them...
From chief director.
Okay. And they're actually signing and looking at them. And then the paper is handed back.
That's because they are supposed to be the technocrats. They are supposed to be the people who keep the memories and keep the organizational, long-term events and memories of the agencies. And you cannot change them because they have been there for years and they have institutional memories.
That's true.
Yesterday, ministers were what? Sworn in. So those who are going to take over, let me use my ministry, what I call my ministry, Ministry of Information, because that's where I use my friend Fati. Fati takes over from her boss, Papanko.
And she's my Kusasa sister, so good morning to you.
Exactly. So the chief director there, I'm not saying anything bad about her. I don't know. I believe she's good. She's a woman, so she's so far, she's excellent. She's going to help her to succeed because she has been there throughout. Now, if unfortunately something happens and Fati is not careful and she doesn't open her eyes as she should, can you imagine the damage that will be done to her? It's not just that. Oponkoma has moved into Asenso-Boachi's place. Asenso-Boachi has moved into the Royal Minister's place. And they are not going to change the directors.
The same people.
It's the same people. So as much as I know Ghanaians would look at the politicians because you give us the political power, please, there's also a whole other institution called public service that we should also look at. Because they are there and they are supposed to look out for our good.
Do you think as Ghanaians, we pay critical attention to politicians and their deeds and forget the public service?
Because you vote for us.
Okay. Because we
that's
want
not
to
how
hold you
politicians.
accountable.
That's not how politicians. No, it's because you vote for us.
So we hold you accountable.
No, you do not vote for the chief director.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the show. This is still the Breakfast Review here on GH Today. My guests, as always, on Wednesdays, we have an all-female contingent. Elena Madeko is a member of the NPP communications team, and Haja Saratu Alasan is a member of the NDC communications team, and she was on the floor. We're talking about corruption. You're making a quick point.
No, because Ellen was... The analysis Ellen is making, which I partially agree with her. But I said politician made it so because that is how we have made it. We always have to accuse your opponents of corruption before you be heard as a politician. You have to, the NDC is corrupt and they are doing this and they are doing that. And so the civil servants who, Ellen, per her analysis, who have been in the office for 20 years and doing their own thing, are not seen. We target each other. I target you, you target me. And so it's difficult for us all over to start saying that, no, it's entirely not politicians.
But shouldn't we then change the narrative?
That is why I said politicians made it so.
I don't think politicians made it so. And I think it is right that we actually scrutinize the politician. Because the amount of power, until we change our constitution, the politicians led by whichever president is in power, wield so much power to
winner
change.
Takes all.
To take, not just that, apart from the winner takes all, whoever it is, the power for them to change our circumstances, to either make it better or worse, is great. So yes, we do have to. I don't mind the scrutiny on politicians. Actually, I think it's one of the best things we can do. So that everybody, stay in your lane. And remember, you go and stand in the sun to vote, or the rain to vote for the person. So if you scrutinize the person, I don't have any problem with it. I mean, you cannot say that politicians, some of us are not corrupt. In whichever party it is, you're going to get some bad granules in it. So yes, we need to be scrutinized. But what I'm trying to say is just don't scrutinize us alone, because some of the power, another great deal, is given to the public servants and the civil service. There are some people in the public service and the civil service who are very powerful. And it is it's no fault of theirs. It's by the creation of how our system runs. So the sort of scrutiny that we give to politicians, I think we should just give about 50% of it to the public servants and the civil servants. And you see the changes that will bring into our system. But let's not forget, the ones in Parliament, what do we call them? The Public Accounts Committee. Every single year since I have been able to listen to them, they bring out public servants who have diverted our money. In the their reports, you usually do not hear much about politicians there. It is usually about public servants or civil servants. But the media, I mean, when it comes, like recently I've heard they have put out a report. Yeah, by next week, I'm sure we'll start scrutinizing it. Hey, and these people have taken this, and this money didn't go here. And after 1 week, we are done. But I bet you.
It's not because the politicians play the supervisory role. And
yes, but then the point is, all of them are, that is why that system was put in place. So whether it is the politicians who are there or the public servants, remember, people actually go through the system. I have seen people who are there answering questions, and you can obviously see that they actually done what they say they have done. But why I'm bringing the media into this business is that when we finish, we're done. We don't follow up. A lot of them actually go to court. A lot of them actually lose their pensions. I have had circumstances where I've seen people who have worked for years lose their pensions because monies were diverted where they were not supposed to. They cheated the state. We need to put those stories out there, so that people know that the system is working. And when you are getting into, or you are in the process, you're in the service and you are rising up, and you have made up your mind that my boss got some money, so me too, when I get there, I'll get some money. Your boss lost his pension. We should also put those stories out there. It's like we just make the noise and then we forget about it. But people actually go to court. People actually go to prison. People actually lose stuff. It's just that we don't put it out there enough. I'll plead with the media too that these stories, we should follow it to its logical conclusion. Because most people actually do go to jail for these matters.
For us here, we'll do our best to follow through. So let's move on to our next topic, security recruitment. About 2 days ago, the minority in a press has said they have gotten wind that there's a protocol recruitment where each majority, I mean members of parliament, has been given 30 slots each into...
they didn't say majority members, so they said MPP, parliamentary candidates.
So that's why I said majority members, I mean parliamentarians.
Yeah, but remember MPP also have parliamentary candidates in the Ofan constituency,
That's true.
So they did not say MPP parliamentary.
They
said parliamentary candidates.
Yes.
So 275.
All right. They've been given 30 slots each. Yeah, into the security services. So I want us to take a quick bite at it.
And with all due respect, did they give any proof to show?
No, they didn't mention names.
So we have 200. I've actually opened my calculator. I want us to do a few. 275 constituencies. And every person has been given 30 slots according to...
But not for the minority.
For the majority.
You don't get me what I'm trying to say. I heard them say.
So since you have candidates in all the offices,
exactly. What they said was, the NPP, the NPP parliamentary candidates have been offered 30 slots each. And what I'm trying to explain to everybody is that apart from our 137 people in parliament, we also have parliamentary candidates in their zone too.
No, that is not how they mean.
No, that's how. Please,
What they
no.
You
heard it. I heard it.
Can you let her land? Yeah.
You heard it. I heard it. I did hear all of them, and I was very particular about it because I wanted to know. And they repeated it over and over again that NPP parliamentary candidates. That means the 137 plus the 137 opposition, or those in the what do we call it? In the what do we call them? In our orphan constituencies, every parliamentary candidate, and at this time, even our MPs are now candidates. So 275 have been given 30 each. When I did my calculations, 8,250 to bring. Assuming what they are saying is true, and let me be very honest with you, I don't think it is true. Because they have not yet brought any evidence. They said they've gotten wind. They got wind from where?
But you know they are in parliament with...
Where did they... I mean, you don't make accusations like that. So you got wind from who and from where? Assuming that what you're saying is true, we have 825 people that are going into the... Is it just the police or the...
8,000.
8,250 people who are going to go into all the security services.
Not just the police.
Not just one. My first question to them is, one, they should bring us proof to show that it is true. Number two, assuming it is true, those 8,000 people, are they not Ghanaians? If I may ask. And the next question I'll also ask is, does the security agents, do they have the capacity to take them? I don't know about their budgets, because as it is now, if you want to do recruitments, you should have stated it in last year's budget. You should have gone through the process so your allocation can take it, so that at least government can pay them. Do we have those arrangements made? I mean, they are in parliament. They should be able to tell us. You just don't make accusations like that. And then the next one, I'll ask them that they've been in government before. When they were in government, is that the same thing they did? Perhaps that is what they did. That is why they think people are doing it. Otherwise, with no evidence. This one, when you are saying it, so from the police...
Are you not aware that there are protocol recruitments?
Of course, I mean, they are. But then they make a very specific allegation. And that is why I'm
figures.
Yes, they said every MPP parliamentary candidate has been given 30 slots. And so these are the questions I have for them. Until they bring me evidence to prove that they had this in the meeting, they saw them giving the... And in any case, have the security agencies, they started recruiting. I thought I saw earlier on in the year, they had put out all of them. I saw the fire service one somewhere in January, in the dailies. And they did say, the military one, I saw it, I've seen. So I know they do their recruitments as they do every year. So what makes this one very particular is the fact that they say that the candidates have been given 30 people. And my question to them is, when they were in power, did they do the same thing? Is that why they think that's what they are doing? And what exactly is their problem?
They are particularly concerned about the numbers, the magnitude.
The 8,250 people. And what exactly is their problem with it? Is it that people are not Ghanaians? Is it that they don't qualify? Is it that assuming it is true?
Allegiance to the people who put them there. I mean, we've seen some MPs.
And I'm coming. When they were in power and they also did the recruitment, because they can't tell me that in the 8 years that they were in power, they didn't do any recruitment. The people they recruited are all allegiance to them. They know them. But I thought it was put out in the dailies. You go on the internet, you apply, you are called. Of course, I agree that there are a few protocol what do we call it, recruitments, which the police service have always had, the military has always had. But even with them, they go through the system. So what exactly is their problem? What are they complaining about? Assuming it is true.
Okay, I was going to ask for if it is true.
So, but then I also think that it is not true because they didn't also give us any proof. So what exactly is their wahala, if I may ask?
You know, we've seen certain MPs parading with some of these recruits who just come out to, I mean, practically state that, oh, I help them. A typical example is GHOne, gender minister. Yeah.
And so the people she helped them, you know their party colors, all of them are MPP people.
No, but I mean...
Are they not her constituents? So the problem is that GHOne said she helped people to get into the military, or should have.
No, I'm asking, should that be the
And
standard?
then the question I would also ask with the NDC MPs, because I've also seen a few of them also on their Facebook pages for years now. The people who they go and congratulate them. Oh, people from my constituency have graduated from the army, and they have graduated from the fire service.
From the prison service.
What? That's the question. What exactly is the wahala right now? What is it? Is it that the people who are going to be recruited, if it is true, they are not Ghanaians? Or they have a particular problem with their human?
For the NDC, they say it will compromise the elections.
And it didn't compromise elections in 2012. It didn't compromise elections in 2016. It didn't compromise, because every year recruitments are done. In their time, unless they tell me that they didn't recruit. Every year recruitments are done. Last year, recruitments were done. That one is not going to compromise elections. Last 2 years, it was done. I honestly would love to know what exactly their underlying problem is.
Their underlying problem is how it will compromise the outcome.
What compromise?
Of
and
the election.
what's their proof? How is it going to compromise it? Are the security services the EC? You know, I'm asking these questions because I really don't want to go on an attack on them. But typical of them, when they know they haven't put their things right. Every election year, let's go back to 2020. What didn't they say about state institutions? From running down EC, to running down the police service, to running down the military, all manner of things. This is their latest shenanigans. The latest one that they are bringing in. Last week or last 2 weeks, it was EC. EC replied them appropriately. Now it is now security agencies. All 5 or 6 security agencies, all of a sudden you have problems with their recruitment and you are making up stories. Because they are making up stories. They haven't brought us proof that MPP candidates have been given 30 slots each. But why are you in parliament? Go and lobby for some if it is true. What is your job? If it is true, the defense minister is in parliament, the interior minister is in parliament, and so go and see them. They are your colleagues, and get some for your people too. Then the question I also ask again, those people who are going to come in, are they not Ghanaians?
But these were actually brought to the fore by members of the Defense and Interior Committee.
That's what?
That indeed.
And what is the proof?
Well, they have not provided evidence. Haja.
Lily, let me state this. That the 30 slots we are talking about is not just the Ghana Armed Forces or the police. It's cut across all the security agencies.
That's true.
That's one. Nobody is against recruitment. Another fact. What we are saying is that all these security agencies has been a source of employment to many Ghanaians. And what the NDC is saying is that it should not be limited to partisan. Just like when the chiefs of KEPCOs visited the president and he told them that because I brought you a candidate and you voted against him, that is why you are not receiving any developmental project in your constituency. It's the same way we are saying that the fact that you have your MPP people does not mean no Ghanaian should be employed. We have a backlog of unemployment, and so it should be open. What we are against is the secret of recruitment. When you go to their website, from 2017 till date, there has not been any notice of recruitment, yet every year they pass people out. That is what the NDC is talking about. If Ellen is asking of proof and saying that when in 2012 was the security agencies, we were in this country, we saw what happened in Ayawaso, West Wuogon. People in uniform were shooting in Ayawaso, West Wuogon. And so do we have any reason to be complaining? In 2020, for the first time in the history of this country's elections, 8 people, including minor, lost their life. Do we have reasons? In Techiman, the security service were targeting in the crowd. Do we have reasons to complain? You see, when it favors you, and you have a different opinion about it, and when it is against you, you have a different opinion about it, we should stop. Security agencies, they always, in the daily guide, on their page, most especially, you know. And when you have a friend who is in the security service, you even have a clue that, oh, there's going to be a recruitment. And so anybody interested should apply. It is no longer like that. And when they were questioned, what they said was that they have people who they've already recruited and they go back to their data to pick them from 2017 till now. Is that what we are meant to say? Look, we are only saying this so that Ghanaians will be aware of what is happening. We are saying this so that Ghanaians will get to know where we are coming from. But look, we are not timid.
Well, we understand that it's not as though it's a recruitment exercise going on. It's a backlog of applicants that you're enrolling in.
Do you do that in this office?
Well, I am not in the security service.
No, I'm asking. I'm not saying do you do that in the security. I'm asking. Do you do that in this your office, GHOne? Do you do that?
This is a private entity.
And if a private entity do not do that, a government entity would not do that. You get my point? If a private entity who has the rights to do whatever they want to do at any given time, do not do that, a public institution should not be doing that, because there are a lot of interest. So you are telling me that if I have a brother who is interested in going into the security service since 2017, should wait till 2025, 2027 to even apply? Is that what you are saying?
There's a cutoff point, you remember?
My sister, look, what we are discussing here is of national interest. We are discussing this issue. We have brought out this issue so that every Ghanaian who is interested will get the opportunity. You shouldn't be denied the opportunity because you do not have any affiliation with any political party. You shouldn't be denied the opportunity because you are not an MPP card-bearing member. What we are saying is that recruitments are done every year. It is pasted. Those who are interested would apply. If they get fine, if they don't, then that is it. That is what we are calling. When it comes to elections, let me tell you something. That this time around, the Ghana we have today is not the Ghana we had in 1992.
Well, what makes it different?
It's not the Ghana we had in 1996. It's not the Ghana we had in 2000, in 2002 or 2008. We have a different Ghana and nobody is timid. When we were on EC and complaining, every time the NDC brings and tells the EC that, look, the figures you put out there are wrong, they go back and correct them. Why? Is the NDC giving the EC the direction? It tells you how vigilant we are. Because if we go to your page and we tell you that, no, these figures are wrong, then the next minute you go back and then you change it to what we said. It means that we are vigilant. What we are saying is that we are not timid. We are only calling on your government to allow every Ghanaian, it is a right for every Ghanaian who is qualified, who has the ambition, who have the interest to apply. And so stop doing it secretly. Stop doing the recruitment in your various rooms.
That's what I mentioned, that we're learning, that it is not recruitment, it is a backlog of applicants that they are enrolled.
Lily, why do you keep rephrasing the question and asking me? Do you do that in any institution?
So I'm not rephrasing. I'm only saying that is what we are.
Do you do that in any institution? That the fact that people applied in 2017 and because they were not able to get the opportunity, we keep going back to that data every year. If you open up for application and at least you pick 30 out of the people who applied, isn't that the best way to go? Do we always have to, from 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23? My sister, what are we talking about? But the amazing part of this is that nobody is going to intimidate anybody in 2024 election. 2024 election is not an election between the NDC and the MPP. It's an election between the MPP and Ghanaians. who are ready to rescue their future that has been deteriorated by bad governance. It is an election between the MPP and the youth of this country who are ready to take the mantle of their future and fight for it. Nobody would... Look, if they think that what happened in Ayawaso West Wagon will repeat itself in 2024, it's a lie. If they think what happened in 2020 election will repeat itself in 2024, it's a lie. Because you know what? If you are coming to my house with a cutlass and you meet me with a gun, you drop your cutlass, I'll drop my gun, and then we have a very nice conversation. And that is exactly what is going to happen in 2020. We are only worried that the backlogs they claim they are dealing with is not the right way to go about it. The security service is for every Ghanaian. Open up. Let everybody apply. When we talk about a 30 slots given to each, and of course she admitted that is that a crime? Nobody is saying it's a crime. If I have a...
But was it not done under your regime too?
But every year there is a notice of recruitment that we see around. And so, Lily, if you have the opportunity and then you have been given 5 slots, okay, you bring your... Of course, when you are being given 5, if today, as I am sitting, and then they give Ellen 5 slots, definitely she will not pick me. She won't pick me because
Ella,
nobody...
Will you pick her? Will you pick her?
She won't, my sister. Don't ask her. Don't worry your head.
Will you pick her?
Nobody will...
Haja, will you pick her?
Maybe.
Oh, no. But you just said maybe.
No.
You, so if you
nobody,
are
nobody
saying she
will
will not
feed,
pick you, why are you
nobody
saying
will feed a dog to come and bite him. You get it? And so when you are giving 5 slots, you bring your own people. The rest of the 25...
But those are constituents.
The rest of the 25 will go out to the people of... Look, not everybody is a politician.
That's true.
Not everybody is a politician. That's retiree who took care of his son to graduate from school and he has the ambition to go into the security service. It's not a typical politician. He has no affiliation with either NDC or an MPP.
Right.
So you don't ask him to wait until after 8 years of your governance before he gets enrollment. And mind you, age will not be on that person's side as time goes on. And so we are only calling that, look, do it the right way. But if they think that we are timid and that we are on everybody, we are on EC, we are on police service, we are... Look, who was jailed during the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election? Has a single person been dealt with? There was a commission of inquiry.
But there
was a recommendation. Has anybody been dealt with? Has anybody been dealt with? In 2020 election at Techima, when we saw the security personnel shooting in the crowd, has anybody been dealt with?
Anyway, fortunately, we're out of time.
So we are saying that, look, do what you want to do. But the NDC is not going to be timid. Ghanaians are not going to be timid. We are ready for 2020. Of course, we are ready for 2024 elections. Everybody, every Ghanaian is ready. The registration exercise should tell the MPP that, look, you will not get it the way you got it in 2020.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let's hope that you can count your votes.
Of course we can.
And you will not go to Supreme Court and go and be
Don't
sitting
worry,
there doing
Ellen.
this.
Thank you, ladies.
That is
Nobody is timid in Ghana.
That is what is
It's a pleasure
Be
having
able to
you.
count your votes.
That is
Tell
why
us
we
how
say
you
it's
are
going
there
to be
count your
different.
votes.
That
is why we say it's going to be
a member of the NDC communications team, and Ellen Amadek was a member of the NPP communications team. That has been the Breakfast with You segment of GH Today. We are back after this break with more. Stay tuned in.
Do not have the pedigree of a team like Chelsea.
I mean,
so
Xabi Alonso is a good example.
Well, Xabi Alonso is an outlier.
But then he's just a good example.
It's an outlier. It doesn't really happen. Of course, I'm not saying that it hasn't happened before because we've seen young coaches do well, before.
But
usually it doesn't
the
happen.
Bayer Leverkusen coach, for instance, Alonso, like you mentioned,
yes,
Alonso,
that's what he's mentioned. He's an outlier.
Even Xavi himself at Barcelona, he's not doing that badly.
Yeah.
Initially,
but Xavi at Barcelona didn't immediately start making an impact. It took him some time.
Yeah.
It took Xavi some time at Barcelona before he started, making that impact and becoming that. Except for maybe the only person you can point to is Zidane.
Yeah,
he came in and then he won the treble.
Won the treble and then and Xabi Alonso too. With Bayer Leverkusen. Usually it doesn't happen.
Yes,
it doesn't happen that you get a young
coach who just make it
You see, and they look at the teams that they have coached,
Yeah.
okay, and where they were doing the coaching.
Yeah.
It's like Ten Hag. You think Ten Hag is doing well in the
Eredivisie.
Eredivisie, and then you bring him to a club like Manchester United in the EPL.
And he comes
to do
and
magic.
so many words and
He's not coming to do
errors
anything.
will end and everything, and he comes.
Maybe
and challenge.
where is Chelsea's mind, and with regard to Thomas Tuchel, probably bringing him back?
Well, I read a tweet from Fabrizio, and I mean, those are just rumors.
Yeah.
They're
Those
just
are
rumors.
and he's not going to come back. He's
It'd
not
be
going
nice to
come
have
back.
Tuchel back.
Well, would you want him at United?
No.
You don't want him at United, but you want him at... Honestly,
but
I'm not
he
sure it's that
did
bad.
well
See,
with Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah.
Tuchel's return to Chelsea
Tuchel knows
will
the
not
club.
be that bad.
He knows Chelsea.
Will not be that
He
bad.
can gel with them.
He can do a Mourinho again. You see, if you look at the history of Chelsea, one of the very few coaches to have just come in and made an immediate impact will be Jose Mourinho.
Yes.
If you look beyond Jose Mourinho, you realize that when coaches come in at Chelsea, they take a while. That's how come our firing rate is very high, because you take a while to acclimatize and then deliver. Before you deliver, already you are being fired. That's how come Di Matteo and co, who just came from nowhere, came to make impact, because the food had virtually been cooked for them. So the point I'm making is that if we go to Brighton again, I was very confident that Graham Potter was going to be the man.
Yeah.
Well, look at what he was doing before we went for him. He came and it was like 360 degrees backwards.
The club is big and the expectations are high.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The pressures is
pressure
real. I
is
mean,
true.
nobody should underestimate the pressure that comes with coaching a big club. So if you're not a big time coach, if you're not a big time coach, no matter the big club they give to you, it will take you time, and you may not even succeed.
And unfortunately for Pochettino, Chelsea will have been his best brand to succeed. He was at PSG, came to Tottenham. You see, their plan was good. 2-year contract. Let him see off the next season. How difficult should that be? Hopefully, we will hear Pochettino speak and tell us exactly what happened. Because it's difficult for anybody to wrap his or her head around this.
Especially Chelsea's run of form towards the end of the season.
Nonetheless, the decision has been made. We told that in the minds of the owners, they are going for a young coach. The pressure they are going to buy for themselves.
So he had 51 games. He won 26, and then he lost 14 and had 11 draws.
That's not a bad record.
That's not bad. That's
not
not
a
bad.
bad record at
50
all.
points, 98 win ratio. So
That's
I
not a
mean,
bad record.
Almost double the goals we scored last
He will
season.
be a better coach than Ten Hag. We should perhaps.
I mean, if Chelsea are sacking him, then
No, United can actually go for
we should go
Mauricio.
for him. We should go for
United.
Pochettino.
But I mean, I fear for the other players who found playing
Yeah.
time under
Yeah.
him, like Enzo, for instance. Because immediately Enzo got injured and went for the operation, you hear people saying that Chelsea is playing better without Enzo. Meanwhile, the gentleman was playing through pain. Now, if another coach comes and Enzo doesn't find favor with that coach,
That's it for him.
That's it.
Yeah.
Look at the patience he had for Jackson.
Yeah.
Any other coach will have bent Jackson. Simple. Because you cannot be that wasteful. Nonetheless, he scored much more goals than all your players.
You don't need to compare him to Manchester United players. You don't need to compare him.
Yeah, I get it. See, Jackson was wasteful.
Yeah.
And of course, he was being worked on. And that's what coaches are meant for. Let's see. To us, as the supporters, we think this is a terrible decision.
You think it's a terrible decision?
We are praying
Are you
that
going to protest?
Are
you going to sign a petition? Bring back
Potter.
Bring back Potter.
we're going for Europe, right? I will have wished that we didn't even go for Europe. So then we will concentrate and then, like what you guys are praying for. Some of your supporters are praying that City beat you people, which will happen. You don't have to pray. For City beating Man United, you don't have to pray.
They have to beat us.
Yes.
For us to see that Hag
is
shine.
going. Yeah.
You shouldn't
Yes, to
luck. I don't even want luck to shine on. Yes, I'm a Man U fan. It would be nice to win the FA
Yeah,
Cup.
exactly.
But we don't need to win the FA Cup at this time. We need to take our team back. We
Yes.
need to take our team back. That is what we need to do.
Interesting.
So what would be the best way forward for Chelsea?
I think it first of all, they have to put in the right structures. That is what Manchester United are doing. There is a football director who decides now. So Ratcliffe cannot decide who comes in, who goes out. Of course, he would have a say in the decision making. And they need to bring in football people, right? For coaches coming in, I think if they're going to go for a young coach, trust me, next season we'll sit here and then say that, oh, De Zerbi is being sacked.
Yeah.
Yes. I think they can go in for a coach who has seen it. And Hansen Flick has also been linked to Chelsea. And then they need to go in for a coach who has seen it all, who can understand the players, who can understand the system, give him time to play. Because if they are going to sack coaches based on one season,
performance.
Look at Tuchel. He had just won the Champions League the
exactly,
previous season.
yes.
The
And
next
then
season came, then he was
exactly.
sacked. So I think that they need to get in the right structures. When they get in the right structures, let's get in a coach who can build. Look at Klopp.
Yeah.
Klopp came in.
Yeah.
His first
Initially,
season, he was beating Bournemouth by 3-1, 67 minutes. Before the game ended, he lost 4-3.
Yeah.
But they stuck with him.
Yeah.
9 years. I mean, probably
9 years, and he's done well for the club.
Yeah,
Because he's leaving ceremoniously.
30 years,
Yeah.
no Premier League. He got them one.
Yeah.
Francis would say it is an achievement, but then I think that he did well for them
Yeah,
because
he
for
still
30
got them
years,
something.
And he's
Yeah.
kept them consistently
Yes.
in the Champions League
Yeah.
and in the top 4.
Arteta is being
He's
hailed.
consistently-
they
Arteta
beat
is being
Manchester
hailed.
United 7 goals to nothing.
Yeah, Arteta is being hailed over what? Arteta for placing second. We are hailing him, right? Our Arsenal fans are hailing Arteta.
I mean, but then I don't think. Imagine if they sack Arteta now.
That's
Would
the point.
Yes, so
You see-
he's building something. It is taking time. You know, Emery. If Emery had stayed at Arsenal for some time, Arsenal would have won a silverware this year.
Oh yes.
Probably the Europa or the league,
Yeah.
right? But they were impatient.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure they are not going to repeat that mistake. They would want to be patient with Arteta. Chelsea
Exactly.
would need to be patient with the next coach that is going to come in. If not,
It depends on who the next coach is.
Yes, if not, we are going to
The way
sit
they
here.
have unceremoniously sacked Pochettino,
Yeah,
if the next
it was-
coach comes
it was
and
very
also
surprising. So much
faces
surprising.
problems,
Yeah.
you know, then
He would go.
they
The
may
coach
not
would
be
go.
too patient.
But then,
don't know.
honestly, as a United fan, I'm happy. I'm happy because Poch was doing so well, and
yeah.
I was
And
scared.
next
I was
season-
scared
next season
about.
will have been
You
very
know,
interesting.
for 6 years, Chelsea hadn't beaten United.
Yeah.
And Poch came and he did that.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
sad.
yeah,
Ten Hag
yeah.
is breaking all the
Yeah.
records. So I'm happy as a United fan, as a
Yeah.
football fan. I'm sad that he's going.
Yeah.
But before you know, he might come to United and then we'll
You're
catch
not
Chelsea
happy
every
about
day.
Klopp leaving Liverpool.
Yeah. Premiership will be
You're not happy about Klopp leaving Liverpool.
Liverpool.
I'm so happy.
No, you should rather be happy. Pep.
And a slot coming in.
Yeah.
Well, we'll live to see. We'll live to
What
see.
happens?
The Dutch coaches have a reputation of failing in the English Premier League.
No, they are not good. They are not good.
And
They are not
he's a bowed man like Ten Hag. He's also coming in from the Eredivisie. Let's wait and see what happens. I mean, some of the players would surely leave. It would depend on the key players, Salah and Co. Are they going to stay around?
Yeah.
Is he going to build a team around them? So we'll wait and see. Poch is gone, and who comes in? Is it going to be De Zerbi?
Yeah.
Is it going to be McKenna? And I mean, Leicester's coach Enzo Maresca is also part of the conversation. So a lot of people are going to come out. Poch, what's his name? Todd Boehly will do his magic, and he would splash the cash around. One day,
It will be-
the FFP will
Yeah.
come for Chelsea.
Oh yes, and I'm sure that's what
Financial
they're talking
fair
about.
play.
Yeah.
We're still signing players. We recently signed this Brazilian wonder kid, and you see how they do it is what now the financial fair play people and then the runners of the Premier League are looking at, because they actually stagger the payment. So you don't find all the money used in signing a player on the books of Chelsea. Sometimes they sign and they send you out on loan. So basically, the point I'm making is that Todd Boehly and the owners, they ought to be patient.
Right.
They ought to be patient. Unfortunately, we don't have
Okay.
patience linked to Chelsea in any sentence.
Well,
I'm surprised you mentioned
We'll
Chelsea
see.
and patience.
So we'll see how it plays out for Chelsea. We've just been discussing the sack, or should I say, the mutual parting of ways between Chelsea and Mauricio Pochettino. As Manchester United fan, I'm also waiting for Eric Ten Hag to go. Yeah, he must go. But anyway, thank you very much, Jones and Ivy, for joining us in the studio. Now, we told you that today is International Day of Biological Diversity, right? And I earlier had a little rant about the effects of illegal small-scale mining on our biological diversity and other things. I've been joined on Zoom for us to have a conversation on this by Mr. Boachi Chumesi Ankra. He's a project manager for Tropin Boss, Ghana. He's joining us via Zoom for a conversation. Okay, I understand that we have had an issue with the Zoom connection, which is being rectified. Okay, I understand that Mr. Chumesi Ankra is here on the is on the Zoom now. Mr. Ankra, good morning. Welcome to the show. Hello, Mr. Chumesi Ankra. Can you hear me? Good morning. Okay.
Good morning, sir, and thank you. Morning. Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. So we're just talking about International Day for Biodiversity, and we just want to, try and look at that within the Ghanaian context and also what is going on with illegal small-scale mining. On a day like this, when we're looking at biodiversity and our own situation here in the country as regards illegal small-scale mining, where do we place ourselves as a country with regard to protecting and enhancing our biodiversity vis-a-vis all of these challenges?
All right. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss these issues on your network. No country is actually an island when we're talking of biodiversity.
Well, Mr. Chumesi Ankra's connection seems to be giving us problems, and we need to work on that. But of course, we wanted to discuss the impact of illegal small-scale mining, as today is actually the International Day of Biological Diversity. So we want to look at what we've been doing locally to protect our biodiversity, and of course, the impact of illegal small-scale mining, where Ghana can be situated when it comes to enhancing or taking care of our biodiversity. Obviously, it looks like we're not doing a very good job. So moving forward, what are the necessary steps that need to be taken? We wanted to have a conversation around this, but unfortunately, we are unable to. And so we'll bring you that conversation. We'll try and bring you that conversation again tomorrow so that we can talk about this. But we'll have to end GH Today here on GHOne Television. And thank you very much for watching.